podcasting will be a thrill. Grandpa and chill, grandson and friends. Grandpa and chill in full effect. We talk about it all, yeah, put it all on the set with that pet craze too. We chillin' with Rosie, come through, stay tuned, yeah, listen closely. Cause this the millennials and the silent generation coming together, discussion in rotation. This is Grandpa and Chill.
You look good, Phines. So do you, Brandon.
Thank you.
Yeah, I haven't seen you guys for like 3 months.
It's been really nice.
Yeah.
Really nice, yeah.
It's good to see y'all.
Oh, I thought you meant really nice not to see me for 3 months.
No, you feel that way about us, not the reverse.
No, that's not true.
Every day you wake up, oh God, I don't have to see Brandon.
No, it's not about that.
Yeah. Dave is a grandfather, yes?
I am.
Yeah. So we have finally, after a lot of not grandfathers, we have a grandpa back on the show. So
that's good.
Dave, how many grandchildren do you have?
I have 2 grandchildren.
Uh-huh. Nice.
But I come from a big family. I have 50 nieces and nephews and grandnieces and nephews. So we're a big clan.
Nice. And why do we have you on this evening?
Because I am going to talk to you about the Grandparent Merit Badges and a couple of young lads, Emily and Lucas, who came along to help breathe some life into it. So.
Yeah.
Neat. Okay.
And our podcast is Grandpa and Chill, so it almost fits more perfectly than any other possible relationship ever.
There you go.
Yeah. Could you explain a little bit more to Grandpa and us what the Grandpa Merit Badges are, Dave?
Yeah, I as I said, I come from a big family, and so I knew how to be an uncle. I knew how to be a father. Or at least I had experience. How good I was, a different question. But when my grandson came along, I didn't really know how to be a grandfather. So I spent some time reading about it and decided that I wanted to create an activity book of things that he and I could do together. And that's what gave rise to the Grandparent Merit Badges. It's both an activity book and a memoir where there are 18 badges, hiking, biking, kite flying, visit the zoo, that sort of thing. And as you do each one, you cut out the badge, you stick it on the relevant page. Each badge has a separate page. And then you write about it. You write about what you did, when you did it, what the temperature was outside, whatever comes to mind when you want to create this memory of what you and your grandfather, you and your grandmother did. So that's what gave rise to it.
I think that's really, really sweet and really lovely. It's funny. One of my earliest memories of my life was when my grandpa took me to the zoo, and it was really like still one of the best days of my life. You remember that, Grandpa?
No. But I remember us at the arcade in Atlantic City playing the pinball machines and stuff like that, and me collecting the tickets, and you and Jared playing the games. That I remember. Or getting lost, or you getting lost from you. I do remember that.
I think that's called a casino, Grandpa.
Pinball's making a big comeback right now. So.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of.
I can't tell you why.
Like the vinyl.
I have a daughter that's very active in the pinball world, and
really,
it kind of sort of disappeared when all those electronic games came out. Kids spend a lot of time in front of their TV, so perhaps just like the merit badges, which is designed to kind of get you away from technology, pinball's doing the same thing. It's designed to get you away from the electronic things and put you back in where you got things in your hand and you're making things happen. So
I didn't even know there was a pinball world.
It's I recently visited Las Vegas with my daughters, and we went to the Pinball Hall of Fame.
Oh,
And
cool.
but when I think of the Hall of Fame, I think of famous people. This was not famous people. This was famous machines.
Mm.
And so
Ooh.
every pinball machine that I'd ever seen was in the Pinball Hall of Fame in Las Vegas. It was really pretty cool.
I don't know your guys' exact age, but was pinball like the big thing when you were growing up?
It was
It
for
was,
some people.
yeah, it was for me. I mean, when I was in college, the first electronic game I can remember was Pong. It was the little paddles that hit the ball back and forth. I was. This was in the '70s,
Yeah.
and so yeah. They and pinball was. We played a lot of pinball, and so that was really just the beginning of electronic games. That I think then it gave way to things like Space Invaders and the like, and it was just different. So, but what goes around comes around, right?
Yeah.
Well, Dave, are you familiar with pachinko?
I know the name, but I can't. I don't think I could tell you anything about it.
It was very popular in Japan, and I was there in '59, and then I was there with Brandon probably 15 years ago. And it's a very popular pinball type game, but I thought it would become popular here, but it never really did
Mm.
that I know of.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Finus.
No,
You were saying something. Yeah.
I mean, I have questions, but we can banter. I don't need to jump into it unless y'all want me to jump
I'm
into it. Want me to jump into it? I'm gonna jump
Yeah,
into it.
yeah. Jump
Yeah.
into
So
it.
okay. I one question is that you when you're trying to become a grandfather, where does that mean that did you have reference like your grandfather to get examples from, or where did you get reference from, and who were some examples that you got you?
Well, I didn't. I remember my grandfather when I was very, very young. So I don't have much of a memory of him. In fact, I lost my father when I was 5,
Wow.
and I didn't have much of a memory of him either. But the idea here was simply, simple things that anybody could do. Because even the things that might cost money, like visit the aquarium, visit the zoo, the book says you can either visit them or you can read about them. You can go online and read about the Cleveland Aquarium or whatever is your fancy. And but I had a lot of uncles that looked after me when I was young, and much of what I learned about how to be who I am and how to be a grandfather came from them. So
Love it.
But we have something in common because I lost my natural father when I was 5.
yeah, it certainly changes your perspective of the world. I mean, my mother and father were my mother raised 8 kids, and we were I came from a good Catholic neighborhood in Youngstown, Ohio. 8 kids. We were like the small family on the street. Uh, 12, 10, 12, 14 was not unusual. So I had the benefit of a big family, which meant when I was a kid, you often did your own laundry and you cooked your own meals, and the kitchen, the dishes might be piling up in the sink from 3 days, but that's okay. I had great role models growing up. So
Who was busier, the mom or the dad, with all the children?
well, since my father passed away, my mother was it, and she was a nurse. So she worked every day, and one of my favorite comedians, Lewis Black, does a bit about how kids my age, we'd leave the house at 9 in the morning, and we'd come home at 5, and my mom sort of knew where I was. She knew I was at the park or at the ball field or visiting friends, and that's just that's the generation I grew up in, and it was a good one. It was a good one, but I'm trying to get back to a place where young kids today appreciate the relationships that they can have with their grandparents and everybody in their lives, for that matter. So.
Yeah, that's not really a thing that would ever happen where what's it called, latchkey kids, or where you can just be like, hey, come back at 7, open the door, and they're gone the whole day, you know?
Yeah, that was I think that was even a different era, but I don't know. I've heard the term. I think it might have applied to my kids.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
but I had lots. I lived in a neighborhood where people looked out for each other. So one of the things that I discovered in this journey I'm on here with the merit badges was that a lot of people that I know don't have grandkids, or they're kids that don't have grandparents, and that's why the book came out in a second series called the Friends and Family Merit Badges, for exactly that reason. I sent some of the books to a very good friend of mine out west, and she said, "David, I don't have any grandkids. What am I to do?" So it's really meant for family and friend relationships, that you can do simple things, spending time away from technology and away from just not sitting on your computer, and but learning how to develop strong relationships with friends and family.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that progression, Dave, of more and more isolation, more and more technology? What are your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, I think it's I come from the Edgar Allan Poe school of thought. Believe 10% of what you hear and none of what you see, and I think that's only gotten harder with technology and artificial intelligence and whatnot. And I'm a face-to-face guy. I like FaceTime. It allows me to communicate. It allows us all to communicate with people that are in other parts of the country, other parts of the world. But too much technology isn't necessarily a good thing. So this is designed to get you out of the house. Put the phone down. Put the iPad down. Let's go on outside, even if it's as simple as throwing a football around, or playing in the yard, doing things that help you bond with one another.
I'm just curious, where are you from, Dave? Where did you grow up? What area?
I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Good place to be from. But when I was in college, the steel mills closed, and Youngstown went from being the third largest steel producing city in America to one that didn't produce much steel, and the town changed. But I'm happy to say that it reinvented itself, and I still have family there, and it's a great place to be from.
There's something that you were saying about community. It's probably just a hot button word for me. That's why I'm bringing it up with you. But I also asked about it for the book. But I've been learning about third places, and how as we get older that we don't have as many, and that's a place where people go between home and work. Like I guess Cheers, like the TV show, is a good example. It's like a place that everyone knows their name, and as we've gotten further in time, my generation and the new generation have less and less third places because they're just going home to work, home. And I was wondering if this book helps out with trying to find third places, or if that's something that you've thought about with bringing more community into, I don't know, keep friends and family.
Well, it's certainly designed to get you out of the house and going places and doing things. for example, in the first edition of the book, we have a volunteer edition. Grandparent Merit Badge is the volunteer edition. It is it's a list of merit badges and ideas to get you involved in the community, whether it's helping your neighbor cut her grass or, working at the food bank. There are lots of ways that you can do that. So I don't know if there's any direct correlation to what you're describing, but again, the idea is to kind of step away from technology. You don't get all of your social interaction from technology.
Yeah,
Get it from face to face.
Yeah, a volunteer place I would consider a third place. It's a place between home and work that you can go to interact with people. Sounds good to me.
You said something really interesting at the beginning of something along the lines of you knew how to be a father, but not a grandfather. In all our episodes, I've never thought of that before. Of like, there's no manual when you have a child's child.
No manual.
Yeah.
Well, because I asked my brother one time. He had 3 wonderful daughters, and when I had my first daughter, I asked him. I said, "So what's the secret? You got 3 great kids. What's the secret?" And he said, "There's really no secret. You just got to be there. You're gonna make mistakes, so you just got to be there." And I think I've come to realize that being a grandparent's the same. It's the same thing. I knew how to respect others. I knew how to interact with others. I have a big family. I'm very happy and proud of that. So it's just a matter of getting back to the face to face, and I do that. I take my grandson to breakfast every week. Last week he's 6. He was describing to me the difference between the winter solstice and the summer solstice. I'm not sure I knew what those were.
I do not.
Before he did that. So tomorrow I'm going to ask him about this thing that's coming. What is it? The sun. What do they call that? The
solar eclipse.
The solar eclipse. I'm going to see if he knows what that is. I sort of know what it is. So.
Ooh, you guys can look at them together, not directly, but that whole that piece of paper. Have you heard about that?
Yeah.
Where you can look at the solar eclipse. I bet that's an. It could be a bad.
Yeah, just don't look at it directly.
I'm in. As I said, I'm in Cleveland now, and apparently, we're right in the path. So I hear people talking about the solar eclipse all the time. So it's a great thing to do. I want to mention one other thing, and that is the books. One of the things that I also discovered in these with the merit badges was that some people have very specific interests. They spend lots of time. So we developed 4 books, specialized books. One for dog lovers, one for cooking enthusiasts, one for nature lovers, and one for gardening enthusiasts. Because some people, they don't hike, they don't bike. They spend lots of time in the garden and cultivating different plants, understanding how to do that, and so we thought it made sense to have specialty books, and so we have those as well.
And what was the process? Had you written books before this Grandpa Merit Badge, or this is your first foray into this?
Yeah, when I'm a lawyer by education, which means that I write all kinds of boring stuff. But I have a daughter who's an author, and she's pretty good. I used to tell her when she was a kid, I said, if I could write like you, I'd have been an author. And yet when I toasted her at her wedding, I said, I've lied to you all these years. The truth is, if I could write half as good as you, I'd have been a writer. So I'm a pretty good storyteller, but I'm what they call verbose. You know what that is? I use too many words. and I have to rewrite things 5 or 6 times. But one thing led to another, and that's how we got to writing the storybooks. We now have a series of storybooks that kind of breathe life into the merit badges. Lucas and Emily's Animal Adventure and Outdoor Adventure are the two that are out. And it's designed to take these, merit badges and take them out of the book and off the page and put them out there and say, okay, think about this. Here's how you can do this. Here's how you can make this an experience for you, your grandkids, your friends, your family, whatever it is.
And how's it going? Are these recently released, or from having never?
Yeah, the two that are out were released last year, late in the year. There's 3 more coming. The gardening adventure book, the cooking adventure book, and the dog adventure book, and they're all designed to do different things. And the characters, the only 2 characters that are constant are Lucas and Emily. Grandma and Grandpa, they come in and out. Neighbors come in and out. It's just kind of been fun to adopt a different, kind of a pattern of how these books can speak to a variety of people.
Are the badges actually a physical thing?
They are. The first version of the book came as it was a sticker, and you peeled it off. The new books, because they're printed, in bookshops around the world, they are you cut them out and glue them on. I mean, I'm assuming kids know what glue is. Maybe not. I guess we're gonna find out. But yeah. I have a friend that is he does cut glass images, and I said one of these days maybe I'll have you do the badges and cut glass. But yeah, it's real simple. The focus isn't the book. It isn't the badge. That's the vehicle, but it's what it is that you're doing with your family, what you're doing with grandma, grandpa, or your friend, your aunt, your uncle.
Are Lucas and Emily based off of anybody that you know? Any inspiration?
Not really. They bear some resemblance to people in my world. Some people say that the grandpa looks like me. I'm not so sure. I'm pretty thin on top, and grandpa isn't. But yeah, I mean, I've tried to reflect the world around me, and so in that regard, I suppose there's bits and pieces of things that might jog one's memory about who we are and what we're doing.
Have you always wanted to write books?
I don't think I had a burning desire to do them, but I don't find it difficult. The merit badges, they didn't involve dialogue. That's the hardest part about writing a book. I know that from my daughter's experience. She's she just sits down and she just writes. I mean, She's very good at it. So the kits were more of a they're more like a the lawyer I am. They were checklist kinds of things. That's what lawyers do. They make checklists. And they check everything off. But the book was a little more of a challenge with the dialogue. But it's simple enough that it's it's not a heavy duty. It's not a heavy duty book. That it's pretty simple. So we tried to keep it that way.
This is a question for both Dave and Grandpa. What's harder, relating to your kids or relating to your grandkids?
Well, I would say it's different. I think you tend to be more liberal with your grandchildren in a sense. At least I think I was. But my children were always very easy to raise. They never got in trouble. They were really good kids. and my grandkids also same. Well, I mean, yeah, they were good guys, all of them. So I've been very fortunate, and more so because of them than because of me.
Yeah.
So I haven't really had an issue with either the children or the grandchildren.
What about you, Dave?
Well, there's a certain truth in what he just said about What's that old saying where the grandkids say, "Don't worry about it. Mom and Dad are leaving. The grandpa let us do it." That was my perception of being a grandparent. Your grandkids got to do whatever they wanted, and so he's right. I mean, it's different. Kids are different from grandkids, but in some regards, I'm watching my kids raise their kids, and that's very rewarding for me to watch my daughter raise her two sons, and they're 6 and 17 months, so she's got her hands full.
Wow.
But I'd like to think that I taught her a thing or two, and because I know she's taught me a thing or two. So.
Yeah.
Phines,
Yes.
are your grandparents still around?
No, I mean, physically, tangibly, no. Metaphysically, I have no idea. No, I don't know. No, they're dead. My grandparents
They
are
passed away.
cancer.
That's what I was asking. I mean, did you have a relationship with them when you were young?
Not necessarily. Not my dad's side. I didn't know they passed at a very young age for me. Like I think
I
I
see.
wasn't even one
Right.
yet. And then my mother's side, not. I mean, kind of. Not really. Not really. Didn't really get that
Mm-hmm.
that too in get too close with them. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I always think it's nice when I see commercials and people talk about their relationships with their grandparents. I think maybe if I had kids, I would maybe want grandkids and have a relationship with them. It'd be kind of cool.
Well, you better hurry up.
I know. You know what? Yeah, I better. I do like the idea though of I don't know being a better like being a maybe I could be like I have nieces and nephews. I could be a great uncle.
I think you'd be a great parent or uncle or grandfather. I really do. Yeah.
I think I'm doing the best job I can right now by not having any.
Yeah, same, dude. Same.
Well, as you said earlier, I mean, young people, they get their guidance from a lot of places. So you're being a role model for your younger kids, nieces and nephews. I mean, that's critical that they get that inspiration from people in their lives, face to face.
Well, you also had me thinking about like different examples of grandparents. Not that I didn't have ones, but I had ones. But like I know I worked in the medical field for a good portion of my life, and especially when I was like from 18 to my 20s. So I think I got a lot of guidance and a lot of respect and coolness from people that were older than me, and that's another place. Pretty cool.
That's
Yeah,
good.
interesting. Yeah. You think it's going to be harder to get people off the phone as they get older? Like, think for me as a grandpa, trying to get my grandkid off the Xbox when I want to get on the Xbox next.
Well, if we can get them off the electronic games and onto the pinball machines, who knows? Maybe there is hope we can get them off of. I think it's. I don't think it's that hard if you encourage them in the right way and you show them, here's what we can do. Here are things that we can do together. I think a lot of kids, they go there because that's all they know, and what they need is somebody to say, hey, tap them on the shoulder and say, how about we put that down? Or how about we limit that? Your time with that. I see parents doing that. Limiting their kids' time. So there's nothing wrong with technology, but if that's your whole existence and you just you're on 6-8 hours a day and everybody that you know and everybody you talk to is that. Yeah, I think it's limiting. It's limiting. I think.
How are you going to feel, Dave, when they come in with their girlfriend or their date?
Well, you know what? That's going to happen. So, yeah. Yeah. I think. I mean, as I said, the FaceTime is a marvelous thing particularly for like handicapped people or people that can't travel, don't travel, don't have the money to travel. That's a great thing to be able to do that face to face, but it's not a substitute for in my view of face to face. But that that's the good part about technology. It's all the social media where you just hear. And I once told somebody that the internet is kind of like walking into a bar and of 200 people, and you can hear every conversation at the same time. And it's just wow. It's not hard to get lost in that kind of mumbo jumbo. So it's we'll see. I think I'm optimistic.
There's a lot of great things about the internet, and there's a lot of not so great things about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just getting aha moments now, but like, the phone and the internet has all these different things you can look at. Like, there are all these different options, but so does outdoor. Like, there's only like so many things you look at with a screen when there's like, I don't know, like when I think about what Brandon was saying, going out from like 7 a.m. or what you guys are saying, like going in from daylight to day to sunset. I feel like you've seen 20 times the amount of things I've seen just on that screen, which is only the screen essentially. I mean, there's things inside the screen that I've seen that may be different, but what have I actually seen outside of that screen is very little. So
that must have been so
it's
cool,
very
dude.
limiting.
Like, imagine an entire teens and 20s where there was no screens at all, and you were just like living your life like zero smartphone, zero laptop. Yeah.
Now you have 3 grandparents, Brandon, Rena, and Daryl,
In that
and
order,
me.
yeah.
And do you relate to them
Oh my
differently,
God,
all 3?
Yeah, they're like the 3 different starter Pokemon or something. I mean, it's like
Oh wow,
yeah.
good joke.
I'm sure they don't understand what I'm saying at all.
Well, I heard that Daryl really likes you.
I feel like you're saying that sarcastically.
No, I'm not at all. No, I'm being
Tell her to answer
sincere.
my calls then.
Oh.
How often is there grandparent beef? Like, do people get jealous of like
Dude,
favorites and stuff? Does that happen?
not between. I mean, I don't know, Grandpa. You speak to that. It's your ex-wife.
How often do you get jealous of your grandparents like some other your grandkids liking some other grandparent? Is there any of that stuff going on?
Well, I have so little contact with the other grandparents that it hasn't really affected my life, to say the least.
There's no.
But yeah, I think one thing I think as a grandparent, you really get a lot of there's a lot of things to be thankful for by having a relationship with your grandchildren. It's a really wonderful thing to have.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Sometimes
it is indeed.
I,
All family relationships are great.
Dave, do you have any like aspirations for your grandchildren as far as what type of field you'd want them to go into, or just basically no?
I went to high school in Youngstown, and I still remember at the graduation ceremony what one of the nuns said. She said, I just want you to be the best of whatever you can be. So, I don't know, one day I think he's very good at Lego. Goodness gracious. You want to talk about, the thing where the grandkids excel over the grandparents. He opens up a pack of Lego for, 8-year-olds. It's got 60 pieces, and he puts it together in about 7 minutes. And I look at it, and I mean, my eyes glaze over. That's when I think he's going to be an engineer. So I just want him to grow up and have healthy, happy lives and find the right path.
I'm so backward when it comes to computers, and like today, I spent an hour on the phone with a printer company trying to send out a fax, and when I was a kid, I loved electronics, and I even built amplifiers, but I never kept up with the digital world, and I can do some basic things, but I'm really lost with computers, and I got a newer computer, and it has a whole different Microsoft program, and I don't really fully understand it, so I feel like a real dum-dum. But the grandkids, they know all this stuff almost right away.
They're growing up with it. I mean, you ask them what a tabletop computer is, they don't know what you're talking about. So for them, it's laptops and iPads, and it's probably like when our grandparents went through the dawn of electricity or the telephone. It was there are certain shifts in the society because a big step is made in technology in one form or another, and that's clearly the one that we're in now. It's just so much.
It's hard for younger people to understand when you're an older person and you haven't really been exposed to it when you're young, to really understand it, like Windows and stuff like that. It's not intuitive. It's something you either grew up with it or you didn't.
It's true.
I've seen a history book and I've seen Windows in a history book. There have been Windows.
We all know Windows.
I'm joking. Yeah, no.
Well, maybe we need the grandkids merit badges where you have a list of things you're supposed to teach your grandparents and how to use Windows and a computer, and maybe that's
cool.
part of it. So, because I assure you, I learned things from my grandson. I don't think I'm unique. I think that grandparents they spend time with them, and they just it's like, I don't know if you remember the old show, Art Linkletter, and he had a series that he said kids say the darndest things. Well, my experience is that's absolutely true. The things that I'll tell you this. I took him to breakfast one time, but I couldn't figure out his car seat, and so I had him sit in the front seat of my car. I put the belt buckle on him, and we traveled about a half a mile. But when we got to the restaurant, he said to the waitress, I got to come here, without using my car seat because my grandpa couldn't figure out my belt buckle. So, okay. So he outed me pretty quickly. I think all grandparents experience things like that with their kids, where they're smart. They're smart. They're not, they're not mature. They don't have great experience, but intuitively, kids are I think are automatically smart.
Yeah. I heard that kids, can learn. They're like sponges. They can learn faster than anybody else. And I think if I was a grandparent, I would take that challenge on. So I would love a badge book where I could beat my grandkid. Be like, I learned this quicker than you. I learned Microsoft computer faster than you learned. That sounds fun. Yeah.
Well, I told my grandson this week, one of the things that we got to get you is a normal size basketball hoop. He's starting to play a little basketball, and I wasn't really much of an athlete, but if I had a sport that I was halfway decent at, it was basketball. So I told him we're going to have to get a hoop, put it in the yard here, because he's growing, and one of these days I'm gonna be looking up to him. So
yeah,
God willing.
That was a big one.
Yeah.
My nephew doesn't. It's not a hit. It was a learning curve for us to move the basketball court from like the kid size to like higher up, and they get kind of. That's always like a disappointing thing for them to get used to.
Well, pickleball seems to be growing pretty quickly.
Yeah.
never
Would you
played
play
it.
it?
I've never even seen it. I've never seen it or played
What
it,
do you
but
What do you
it
think?
seemed.
Get just off of what you've heard about it. What do you think it is?
I think it's like a kind of a smaller version of tennis, possibly, possibly indoor. Um, but frankly, I don't really know a lot about it.
Oh, that's pretty good. You know what? You younger people, I think you know what you're blowing holes to the whole science of if someone could pick up something quicker. Yeah, I think that's what it is basically. I've never played it before though. Brandon,
No,
have you played it?
never. But yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I've played it a few times,
Any
and
fun?
Grandpa's right. It's just it's a form of tennis. When I was in college, I played racquetball. Loved playing racquetball and even a little squash. But you know, I'm always amazed when I see these Olympic guys,
Hmm.
playing ping pong, and I just wonder how in the world
Yeah.
do they do that. So every now and then they just try to reinvent things and make them, update them, and that one right now is
Yeah,
white hot.
Grandpa would always he could do like 200 push-ups, and then my brother now is like obsessed with it. He's like a giant bodybuilder. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're all my grandkids are stronger, more athletic than I am. But yeah, but when I was young, I liked to do physical exercise. Now I've gotten really lazy. I have to push myself to do something once every 2 weeks.
It's pretty cool though that you did something that made your grandkids start getting, buff.
How about you,
I
Brandon? Are you
mean,
working out?
yeah. I mean, I'm not like
You work out.
Jared,
I know
but
you
a
do.
little bit.
Well, I remember going with you to the gym, and you were very
Yeah, yeah.
persistent.
I do it.
Brandon, were the I don't know if you said this before but was some of the reasons why you got into acting and into the entertainment businesses for your grandfather? Did he have anything to do with it? Or just stuff that
I always found that very interesting because I thought, Grandpa was like this crazy inventor, and then my mom was, not involved, whatever. But then I found out that Grandpa went to Hollywood when he was like in his 20s or something, and he wanted to be like a big musical. He wanted to be like Sinatra. And my mom was a model, and she wanted to like do like QVC and all that. So, like, I think probably more so than I thought. Yeah, they were always into the arts. But
yeah. And it's crazy what like little stuff that parents do that affects them because I saw a picture of like a drawing my dad did
yeah,
just randomly, like just like as a little kid, and I took that to heart. Like he never had any of the drawings in the house or anything like that. But I like some of the reasons why I draw so heavily now is because I'm like, man, I want to draw like that picture that I saw when I was a kid, and he doesn't even remember where the picture is or anything. He's like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
They
so it's
say
kind of
like right up until the baby's conceived, basically like all of the trauma, all of the like experiences gets passed in through the DNA, like literally. Um, so
Hmm.
like if your great grandfather had an experience with snakes where he was terrified and got a snake bite, like that's why you'll be phobic for snakes.
What about before you had like what if like I'm a phobic of something that's going to be gone in the future, like flip phones.
Uh, you'll be good then. You'll be good.
My kids are going to be okay. Sorry. Well, I was gonna.
Is there something that my grandparents did that
Are your
registered
parents or
with me?
something that you think like that's something like yeah that affected you big time, or that affected you as a person and what you like became a lawyer or something that they probably didn't think anything about. Or,
Now, when I was a kid, I played a lot of golf with my uncles, and because those were my role models at the time. My father had passed away, and these were guys that would hit the ball 150 yards down the middle of the fairway, and they would go out and they would shoot 42, 43 every time. Never hit the ball. Never hit the big driver. And I remember telling my friends, I got the same golf game. I don't hit a big golf ball, and I try to hit 150 yards down the middle. And I would tell my friends, when you get older, as you get older, your game is going to deteriorate. My game is not, because I'm playing the same way that I'm going to be playing when I'm 65, because that's how my uncles did it. I watched them do that. So I have some relatives that were pretty good golfers, and a couple of uncles, and it was always fun to play with them, and I always learned a lot.
Hi, Sierra.
Hi, Sierra. It's so nice to see you.
Bonsoir. Hello. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Sierra.
Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
You about to say something,
Oh,
Brandon?
well, honestly, it's really great
Hi,
to see Sierra, and she's our producer. Just had to be away for a bit, but no, I was thinking about the best two female chess players in the world. I think, like, their dad, I think, was like some sort of doctor or experimenter, and he was like testing nature and nurture, and so like sort of obsessively taught them from the time they were 4, like, chess. And then because of that, like, they just loved it, and they're like literally the greatest in the world now. So,
Well, I've tried to get my grandchildren into golf, but they don't seem to have an interest in it. I think it's a good sport because you can play it when you get older.
yeah.
You can.
But those early experiences, I think, really, really affect you. Like before you're like 10 or 8, But,
Yeah, one of my uncles, when he retired, he became a painter. Painted, did a lot of freehand paintings. I have one. I didn't know until a couple months ago who else in the family might still have one, and it turned out that quite a few of my relatives have his paintings. So he just picked up a brush one day when he was 65 or so, and thought he'd give it a try. So you can always learn new things.
Dave, what type of law do you practice, and are you still practicing?
I never practiced law. I graduated and went to work for an accounting firm in their tax department. I did so because that accounting firm represented every real estate developer in the city of Cleveland, and I went to work for one of them, and so I do real estate development, and I'm one of those guys that's traveled 2 million miles and have 1,000 room nights, and I look back, and my wife used to ask me, how do you do this? How do you do this? And I said, well, I don't think about it. That's how I do it, because if I stopped and thought about it, I probably wouldn't want to. So, but so I tell my daughter, my job's a lot of things, but dull's not one of them. So,
Would you want to represent Trump?
how have you been, Sierra?
wow.
He needs your help desperately.
Needs your help. That's hilarious.
It's wow.
He needs you bad.
He's got. He seems like he's got a lot of representation. So,
I don't know that
but
it'll help him, though,
I've enjoyed being alive. I know lots of lawyers. I've interacted with many of them. It's been the thing about a law degree. It's I use it every day. I mean, I still use it today. I use it in the publishing business when I have to read contracts, and I don't necessarily have somebody they have to explain it to me. So it was a good degree to get. Although when I was young, when I was thinking of going to law school, I asked another one of those uncles who was a teacher in college. I said, so what should I study? I want to go to law school. What should I study? He says, you should study English or speech. He said, because if you can write well or you can speak well, you can do anything. He wasn't wrong. So
Yeah. Grandpa asked Phines earlier, but Sierra, did you have grandparents in your life, or do you have grandparents in your life?
Really, like just one. Wonderful. I was just telling somebody earlier today, we were talking about like the way that technology has changed and everything, and I was thinking about how my grandpa has like a cash
Really?
app, and he
What?
cash apps me. And I can't remember what it was. Like he wanted, maybe he was trying to give me like gas money or something because I took him somewhere, and I was like, I said like, oh, don't worry about it, whatever. He's like, because I don't have my wallet. I was like, oh, don't worry about it, it's fine. And then he's just like, do you have Cash App? And I was like, do you have Cash App? And he was like, oh yeah, I have Cash App you. And I was like, you can Cash App me? And it came through, and I was like, it was just really funny. He's like, what's your username? And it was like I have like normal usernames on all my other like apps, but like because it's Cash App, like it's just a silly app. I was just like, it was something like Sierra Money with like 8 Y's, and
Your money.
sent him that. And I just sent him that, and he sent me some money. I was like,
Wow.
So-
Do you guys know
Technology.
what we're talking about?
yeah, I love my
Grandpa?
grandpa. I did. Oh,
No.
It's just the money.
Well, don't tell them.
It's just no. Ooh, why am I so yellow? It's just a money app.
Oh no.
It's
You can
just
send
like
people
Venmo or
money.
PayPal, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. But the young kids, the youth, they're all, the adults are on Venmo and PayPal, and then,
On Cash App,
the kids are on Cash App.
yeah.
it seems like every time because I'm not into technology, but it seems every time that I finally learn about something, the kids have moved on to something else. So
I know.
oh, Dad,
Well,
that was so yesterday, Dad. Nobody goes on that anymore, Dad. Oh,
I think it's a competition. As soon as you guys know is when it's not cool anymore, right? I mean,
That's
that's.
true.
I think that's once
That's
you get to
it.
that age. Yeah.
that's it.
You've
Yeah.
got to be covert when you get into some of these apps and these trends. You just can't tell nobody.
Can somebody explain what is it called, AI or something like
You
that?
asking what
Mhm.
AI is?
It just I still
know
don't
either.
understand it. I've read about it a little bit, but
So
I don't know what's going on.
So AI is essentially, it's artificial intelligence, and it's artificial in the sense that like obviously it can't think on its own in any sense. It can't think or create anything on its own. So what it requires is data. So no matter what the element is, if it's like Chat GPT, which is like writing AI, if it's like some animation AI, if it's a voice app, it's scraping and essentially stealing models and references from existing work. And sometimes there's permission to do those things, like people like there's waivers and whatever as far as like getting permission to use other people's work as like that data set that the AI can feed off of to learn how to replicate that kind of work. But a lot of the time it's not, and it's just, it's just a bunch of people like downloading and ripping stuff like off the internet or off of like archives of their old DVDs or whatever, and they are able to feed and upload all that information into their AI. So like for example, if you have like Sam Waterston from The Great Gatsby and the Law and Order shows, Jack McCoy, if I want to make an AI model of Sam Waterston's voice, all I have to do is go to Peacock or go to my DVD set and like start ripping those DVDs and like start basically collecting all of his lines through his shows and his movies, put all of those together, and then I upload them into this this app basically I've made. And this AI app will be able to observe all of these recordings, all of this audio, and like all of the inflections and the tone and the volume and everything, and it will start to try to replicate his speaking patterns, his voice, his inflections, his tones, and all that. And so then you just have to keep feeding it more information. Like if all I had was like 2 episodes of Law and Order, it's not going to be good because, it only has those set clips of his like tone and the way that he speaks. But if I have like, 24 seasons of Law and Order episodes, that I can feed into this machine, after a while, if the, the code or whatever in the app is good, it's going to be able to perfectly replicate his voice if I put enough work into my AI app. And so like the same thing happens with, art, with, even animation now. They're able to kind of upload examples of people's work, and you can type in a search bar like, I want something that looks like, SpongeBob SquarePants, but I want it to be about a horse and a parrot, and it will do its best to replicate like that SpongeBob art style, and maybe like, the colors and the, the background art kind of schemes. And so it's the more information you can put into an engine like that, the better the output is supposed to be. And so it happens a lot with ChatGPT, which is really crazy because you could really put like any kind of text in there. Like people were making like AI scripts of Seinfeld. Like they would be like they would type in like, an episode of Seinfeld where, Elaine gets, gets accused of being a member of Antifa, and they'll take all the scripts of Seinfeld that someone has uploaded, and they'll take whatever information someone has put into the machine about Antifa, and it'll try to come up with something. And there are other like more positive uses for AI, like people are using it well for people like artists are using it to simplify work so that they don't have to keep redrawing the same things or inserting the same things. It can be a useful tool. People are also using it a lot in medicine to make it easier to identify
literally
things.
The Matrix, pretty much. It's just
like identify.
Yeah.
It kind of is. Yeah. It's giving Skynet a little bit. It's giving all these things, but it's just really crazy and not very regulated. But we're getting there.
It sounds like it's going to make a lot of work for attorneys, for lawyers.
Well, attorneys are actually trying to use ChatGPT for their briefings. And it hasn't. I think Michael Cohen got caught, so he's probably gonna have to go back to jail or stay in jail, whatever he's at. Michael Cohen was trying to use ChatGPT, which is insane because you're literally already a lawyer, and it doesn't work because ChatGPT can't, like, it doesn't have a mind of its own. It can only it can only imitate information. And so, like, you can't ask ChatGPT to, like, interpret the law for you because it doesn't have that capacity. So, like, some people have tried to, like, respond to legal summons or correspondence with a ChatGPT answer, and it's just a bunch of gobbledygook because ChatGPT is literally making up case law because that's what the information that it's been given, is told it to do. Like, well, I just keep reading stuff that says, well, if you see, Obergefell versus, Virginia or whatever, so I'm going to say, well, this is from, Smith v. Hansen. And so in Albuquerque, and, I'm just going to make up something and put it in there. That's all I know how to do.
You guys, because like technology now is just absolutely insane. And like, I don't even know what it'll be in 20 years as far as the exponential growth, if we will be in Skynet or whatever. But like, I don't have social media really. Like I have no Instagram or Facebook, and I have like a lot of stuff blocked, like YouTube and stuff, just like trying to like like dopamine whatever, and it works a little bit, but I'm still completely addicted to my technology. And like I feel like when I look at the hours that because your screen time is on your phone if you swipe left, and it shows you, and I'm like, oh my god, dude, this is disgusting. Because you think, I'm like, well, I used it like once or twice, and then it's like 6 hours, 8 hours, I used it one time.
I used it once for 11 hours straight.
And like you guys were like the last people ever that just I feel like Grandpa's not even hooked in, even though all this stuff popped up, because he's just too it came too after him.
Slow.
Or slow, yeah, if you want to say slow.
The word you're looking for.
But Grandpa, you and I remember that old saying. It says, "Garbage in, garbage out." Right. So.
Right.
That ChatGPT and artificial intelligence is only as good as the information that you're putting into it. So.
Are we going to get to the point where you really can't tell reality so-called reality from this AI generated images and sound?
I think you'll always be able to tell because one,
I do too.
most people can't take pictures well. Like you'll be able to tell if something's real or not just from like your understanding of like, did someone actually like take this good picture? Like, did they actually, is this a photographer? Is this a real person? And then two, the queen of football, Taylor Swift, is going to fix all of this for us, like she does with every big problem in our country, because they just dropped a bunch of dirty AI pictures of her on the internet, and she shut it all down on Twitter. She told Elon to shut down Twitter. He did it. And then she told Congress to figure it out. And within 24 hours, we got headlines saying, Congress is actually going to look into this whole AI generative picture thing. I think we need to figure out what's going on here. Never mind that it's been around for like the last like 3 or 4 years. And there's been people everywhere who've had like deep fakes and crazy stuff made of them that they can't control because, there's just no legislation for it. We don't know what to do. I'm so sorry. But Taylor got involved. It's over. So I think we're going to have some kind of regulation soon.
Everybody's equal, but some are more equal than others.
Yeah, I'm just going to start going to Taylor Swift for all my problems. I'm going to say, Taylor, I'm actually tired of this. Student debt. Taylor, I'm tired of the lead in my water. Taylor, I don't know if Taylor, are you familiar with the housing crisis in America? It's really crazy. You should look at it, because that's apparently how everything gets done.
Isn't it weird now that like, because when we were kids, we were like had like a foot into all this crazy water, and then like now like a 6-year-old now, like a lot of them just get like a Switch or an iPad or whatever, and then like that's like a primary source of their day, and then like it'll never not be just like all of this crazy technology, from the time you're born. Yeah.
It's real weird. It's real different, because it's like you try to tell your kid like, hey, put the Switch away, put the Wii U away, go find something to do, and then they just like go on the computer or they look at TV. It's like most children's toys are like really screen based now. It's really difficult.
Well, on the back of every one of the Merit Badge books is our logo, and that is our slogan.
Yeah.
Disconnect from the digital. And
Yeah.
reconnect with people who matter most, and that's really the point.
That's really great.
Don't spend your life looking at a screen all day. Get used to the people around you. So, yeah.
I read the other day, and it sounded incomprehensible to me, but the human brain, does something like 100 trillion synapses every second.
Mm-hmm.
The electrical impulses move from one cell to another that fast. It was hundreds of billions of synapses every second. It just sounds unbelievable to me.
Have you noticed the grandkids getting
it'll be
really
a while
quickly
till-
addicted to technology? Because as a grown man, it's literally impossible for me to get off. But like, what about a 6-year-old?
They look for us to us for guidance. We got to show them how to do that.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that
screen time.
The merit badges very specifically is for connection and humanity. Yeah.
It is.
Where can people find your books and all of that kind of stuff?
Well, we have a website, grandparentmeritbadges.com. It's got references to all the books. Or you can go to Halo Publishing. That's also a reference on the website. Halo Publishing has got the 12 merit badge kits that are out, because I didn't mention that we have 5 grandparent merit badges. The 6th is friends and family merit badges, and all of those books are in English and Spanish, which are 2 of the predominant languages in the world. And you can find references to all of that, along with the first 2 storybooks, soon to be 5 on Halo Publishing or you can search on.
Have you tried these
You
with
can
your
search on
grandkids?
Amazon. So
Were they your guinea pig? Yeah.
I have. Liam and I have. We've done almost everything in the merit badges, and we're trying to finish up the pages as we do it. But he and I stay. I mean, I'd like to think that there's lots of grandparents like me. I know there are, and we just make time to do stuff with our grandkids, and we learn as much from them as they learn from us sometimes. Because as you were saying earlier, these kids know technology like we don't. So we're gonna help bridge each other as we go there. So, yep.
Do you think growing up in a church environment gave you some concept of organizing for your program?
I would think it had some bearing overall. In my character and my thought process. My mom was very active in the church, but I've always think of the church as just a place where they do good things. They do the amount of effort that they put into food banks and helping the poor and things like that are those are very important, especially in today's world. So yeah.
How has your books been received with your own grandkids?
Oh, I think they liked them. I think I ask them. I've read the first two books to both of the grandkids. I'll do the same with with the other ones, and their reaction is important to me. My audience is kids and their parents or grandparents who read them storybooks. So I learn every time I read them a book. How did they react? How long did it take? Did they fall asleep while I was reading? That sort of stuff. It's been a good experience.
You gotta add a badge starting a podcast with your grandkid. That'd be a good one.
Oh yeah.
There
you go. Get your badge
I'm
filled
sure
out.
they'd have fun doing that, actually.
All right. Well, listen, I've really appreciated this. So
Yeah.
but I got another appointment that I need to keep, and
No worries. We always do last thoughts on the show. You want to just say your last piece and then any of your socials again or links?
Yeah, I just I want to I did this as a way to enrich my life as a grandfather. As I said, I have lots of nieces and nephews. I saw some of them earlier today, and they all matter to me. And that's one of the reasons why we put together the Friends and Family. So it's just about, getting, put the phone down, put the iPad down, and spend time with people that you love and just doing, simple things, flying a kite, fishing, just little things. You'd be surprised how you take a simple idea and you end up spending several hours together because you really enjoyed it. I find that with my grandson. So Halo Publishing and grandparentmeritbadges.com, and we look forward to doing more.
Thank you so much, Dave. Yeah, we can do last thoughts without you if you got to jump out. No worries.
Nice meeting you.
Thanks very much. No, go ahead. I'll listen. Go
badges.
ahead.
Oh yeah. Phines is a cartoonist as well.
Yeah, I'll do some badges. I don't know what badges are with though. Oh, last word. Yeah, I appreciate the importance that you're putting on community and being present with your friends and family and getting away from always being on the phone. I like that. I'm always here for it, so I appreciate it.
Sierra?
Yeah.
Oh, you're muted.
Thank you so much for coming, Dave, and thank you so much for this really great idea. I think it's wonderful. Kids really need this. Kids of like almost all ages need this. Like, and this is something that grandparents can do. Parents can do, and just like having that prompt and these great ideas of like almost like reminders. Like, yeah, man, like all these things are still here. Like, you can still do these. Like, and encouraging people with like the achievement, the badge to, go out and, like you said, get away from the screen, do something new, do something different, and make a really lasting experience with kids.
Grandpa?
I'm blessed to have a wonderful relationship with my grandchildren, all three of them, and so this has meaning to me, what you've done, Dave. I think it's a great idea.
My last thought is, even as almost 30, my girlfriend and I bought a book similar to this one of activities that we can do together with little badges or whatever, just because, after years, it really helps, and people are looking for stuff like this. I think it's a really sweet and beautiful idea and super cute, and a lot of families are probably gonna really love it. And it's I always love when we have a guest that is like so perfectly in line with the podcast. So thank you for coming on, Dave. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Been my pleasure.
And, yeah. That's it. Thank you for listening,
All right.
and we'll see you, Dave. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right.
Podcasting with Grandpa Bart and Rosie, always on his shoulder. This is Grandpa and Chill.
Grandpa and Chill is brought to you by your hosts, Brandon Fox, Bart Frank, and Phines Jackson. Our producer is Sierra Doss. To watch and listen to full episodes of the show and follow us on social media, visit grandpaandchill.com. That's grandpaandchill.com.